Welcome to the Default Podcast, the show for Power Platform admins, architects, and leaders who want to stay ahead of the curve. Each episode, we bring you insights, best practices, and real-world stories from the people shaping the future of low-code administration. Hey, welcome to the Default Podcast. I'm Andrew Gaskins. I've been working in the Power Platform as an admin and principal solution architect for about 8 years. And I'm excited to be kicking off the Default Podcast with my friend Akash Patel, the most exciting podcast for admins. And it's going to be the best sleep aid for anyone else around you who is listening. We guarantee it.
And I'm Akash. I'm your co-host with 6+ years in the Power Platform governance. And we are here to help you solve daily governance puzzles and stay ahead of the platform rapid evaluation. Joining us for the first time is Ken Auguillard, a principal program manager at Microsoft, who is the architect behind many of the tools we use in the admin center every day.
Ken, thanks for joining us. I don't know if you remember, but you helped us kick off the global Power Platform admins user group, which was not a mouthful to say, years ago. You have been instrumental in so much of what we've done. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself first?
I remember us doing that. We were sitting down third floor Power Platform conference in the community lounge when we actually did that.
That's right.
I absolutely do remember that. First off, thank you for having me inside of there. Akash said, well, both of you kind of said sleep aid. So I feel like I have to have my radio voice on right now. So
Exactly. You pull the admin in, you push everyone else out.
Exactly. Listen to this. Listen to here as we tell this tale. Right. Yeah. So as Akash said, I am principal program manager. I used to say within Power Platform, and that was up until recently. So that changed at the time of this recording about a month in the role now, like fully in the role. And I'll explain what I mean when I say fully, but I now have moved over into Copilot Studio. So in Copilot Studio Agent Builder. So now there's a new challenge, if you will, right? For governance and security, compliance and admin growth and adoption and all of those things for agents specifically. I say fully in the role because maybe that's a part of the lore, if you will, right, Andrew? Is because many of you who may, have spoken to me and know me from the past know that I've been a customer, I've been this, I've been that. Folks know that I like Texas barbecue. I like cooking. I like, and people know me as Dr. No. I've got various different names. I get stopped at conferences and asked random questions about, hey, what restaurant should I go to in this city, and things like that.
You get that more than licensing questions?
It's almost 50-50, Andrew.
That's what I'm saying.
That honestly is. The license
And I'm one of them.
License questions kind of tapered off after we made the last licensing change, thankfully. But I started this journey, and I don't think I actually quite understood and expected it to maybe be what it is and where I am today, because it started simply way back when in Moss. So Microsoft SharePoint Services. I won't forget the name of it before then. Which then evolved into like SharePoint 2005, 2007, 2010, 2016, all those different things like that, which for us throughout my career where I was in my previous organization, owning and operationalizing M365, Azure and things like that. And then came this thing out of nowhere called Power Platform, and like, what the hell is this? Like, I thought we had the tenant locked down. How are people building these things? Like, what's going on?
Right.
Like, no. You can't be doing all these things. Like, what is this? Wait, is that a security risk? I think it's a security risk. Hold on a second. Right? There was a lot of mass chaos and questions and things going on back then. So I think a lot of our past experiences that we all have, many people, at least from me talking to customers, everybody thinks that they have to like sort of reinvent the wheel.
Yeah. Yep.
And they
I agree.
They don't think about, hey, well, wait a minute. What did I do in the past whenever I was looking at I'll use common terms like people know, like SAP, Oracle. I was bringing in this piece of software that we bought, or even if we're building something in house, what were the requirements around securing this internally, governing
Mm-hmm.
this particular thing? And I tend to look at things that way. Don't get me wrong. I want to listen to the customer story and understand what we as a product are missing and
Mm-hmm.
what we need to build. But I was talking with a customer today, and they had a very interesting question, and they asked me how they could limit the access to a particular part of the product suite.
Mm-hmm. That's
And they
normal, right?
and they wanted a control for that,
Mm-hmm.
because like everybody say this with me, licensing is not a control.
Right. Yeah, we still need shirts for that.
Okay. Licensing is not a control, just like
Mm-hmm.
how SharePoint is not a database. Okay.
Yes, exactly. Or Excel.
Or Excel. Okay. It is not. Thank you, Andrew. Right. We need t-shirts for all, like we need to list a t-shirt with all the things that are not a database. We need that. Right.
We'll bring those next year to the conference.
And so, I asked them a question. I was like, well, what do you do to control access to things today? And then when one of them, other folks on the call said, oh, well, we can block things with conditional access. I said, well, why don't you just do that?
Yeah. And the light bulb went off?
Yeah, the light bulb went off. I'm like,
Yeah.
you have the capability, you have the tool. Why don't you just do that? And now just bear in mind, this was not a customer of 25.
Mm-hmm.
This was not a customer of 10,000.
Okay.
This was a customer of multinational, over 150,000 users.
Wow. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm just saying this to say that understand that even these large, very complex organizations have these exact same problems as
Mm-hmm.
someone that may have 10, 20, 50, 1,000, 10,000 users or so on.
Yeah.
But I'm also straying a little bit away from me moving into this role. Last year, I guess over the last 2 years, we've been moving towards this agentic world as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And Power Platform and M365 and Azure and everything else, as great as all of those things are, the world is changing. Things are
Mhm.
moving more towards AI, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
My daughter herself is hopefully graduating soon and will get a degree in AI and robotics.
That's cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
That wasn't offered to us when we were growing
Yes.
up, right?
Yes.
Nope.
We didn't
So-
know what is AI is.
Yeah, exactly. We knew what intelligence was, Akash.
Yes.
We
Yes.
We
said
knew
about it.
intelligent. We didn't know the artificial.
We knew nothing about that. But I was approached last year, and what it was said to me was, "Hey, listen, I really need some help over here in the Copilot space. So if you have some extra bandwidth, just by the way, everybody, when someone says that in here in Microsoft, right, you never have extra bandwidth at all.
Right.
It's just that's their way of politely saying that I am voluntarily telling you
Yeah, the volunteer.
Uh-huh.
that this is what you're about to do."
Yep. Yep.
So long story short on that, I started doing two things. I started being the guy on the Power Platform side and also dipping my toe a little bit and helping out on the Copilot Studio and all of the AI stuff. Andrew, that eventually led me to where I am right now, where I'm
Mhm.
moving out of Power Platform and moving more over into governance, security, compliance, and things of agents.
I mean, that's a big hit for the group you're leaving, but everything, your knowledge, everything, I know it's going to continue to just stay across everything and what you've given us in that area. The team, I mean, I know that'll be hard for them, but from the Copilot side, thanks, because it's needed. It really is.
It is, and I think for those listening, listen, I'm not going far. I still kind of dotted line report to that team in a manner of speaking, right? Even though I'm out of that part of the organization, I still have to have interactions with them because many of the controls are inside of Power Platform Admin Center
Mm-hmm.
and so on.
Yes.
But I mean, let's be honest, the three of us here, you see the landscape of things right now. You see where things are going.
Mm-hmm.
I am not saying that any part of any product suite is not needed or not relevant anymore, but you know where the world is going and where the
Mm-hmm.
investments need to be made. And if I'm being honest, like I moved over, and how sometimes when you change jobs or change roles and they tell you things like, hey, I want to see a 30, 60, 90-day plan.
Right off the bat.
Right. Yeah. You know how to tell
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
things like that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right when you're just moving in. There
Yes.
is no such thing over here with agents. So
Right.
you need a 1, 2, 3 day plan. Like on the third day, like you are going.
Yeah. And by the third day, it's already changed.
Spot on, Andrew. Spot on.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's been quite the journey so far. I will say that there's been some areas that I've been quite overwhelmed with
I
the
bet.
sheer amount of information and things that maybe I thought I knew and things that I
Mm.
know and I see now in terms of just from January at how quickly we have changed.
Yeah. And we're seeing it on our side too. I mean, think about that. Like, so if we think about like governance at scale, then we know that's always been your specialty too. And we saw the rollout of environment groups, rules, all of that. How does that like change the game for the admin who's also managing, at scale, those hundreds or thousands of environments, but plus also the agentic components coming in there now? How do you see that changing with what you're doing?
That is a fantastic question. And how much time do we have to answer this?
How much time do you want?
So
Okay.
I'm going to speak about this from the Power Platform, Foundry, Agent Builder, Mac, and Agent 365 perspectives.
Okay.
Okay, from all that, I'm going to try and give you a
Mhm.
little bit of a holistic view of things. Just as this is how I see it
Mhm.
right now. Okay, so
Mhm.
just hear me out on this. Okay, many of our competitors, partners, however you want to call them, they have an agent builder like product. They have a product very much like Foundry.
Mhm.
They don't have anything that's really in between there, right?
Right.
There are some that kind of toy around with something along these lines, right?
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to say lovable might be something that you can kind of consider to be because it's not agentic or building the agents themselves. But
Right.
when I'm talking about the low code aspect,
Mhm.
Yes.
Lovable is an agentic AI solution that is capable of building web apps and things like that inside of that low code space, right?
Yeah, the lovable
Yeah.
anything, those two, like they're doing a good job, but yeah.
They are, right? So Copilot Studio is very unique in the area that it lives, right?
Mhm.
The other thing that's truly interesting about Copilot Studio is where it actually came from, and that is from Power Platform and the architecture and the construct of or the notion of environments.
Mhm.
If I look at Agent Builder doesn't have that construct like that. It's just oh hey, well, I'm going to allow either my entire organization or maybe a group of people in my organization to build agents, but that's
Mhm.
pretty much it. And then
Yep.
when I'm going to give certain capabilities, MCP servers, so on and so forth, to folks,
Mhm.
I am going to do that at the tenant level. And there you go. Foundry offers you much greater flexibility, but
Mhm.
don't take what I'm saying as a negative, right? Foundry has a much steeper learning curve than
Yeah.
Oh,
say
yeah.
Agent Builder, right? So that
Mhm.
that flexibility and control comes with a bit of a trade-off, right? Copilot Studio sits in the middle and is a bit of the both worlds, if
Mhm.
you will. But then now I have this mysterious construct of environments.
Right. Right. We're
And
bringing this whole group of people in who have no idea what that
Mhm.
means.
exactly, Andrew. So now I get asked a whole lot about, okay, well, wait a minute, Agent 365. Well, that's going to
Mhm.
govern everything, right? No,
Yeah, I didn't want to say it, but yeah,
right? At least not right off,
not right off exactly. And that's what we have to keep
right?
telling like internally too. Like everything is like, and I don't know if I heard it like within Microsoft or but this is the worst it's going to be. So like everything will
Yeah,
always get better from here. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Now, the way I've described Agent 365 to some folks is for those of us who are familiar with Intune.
Mhm.
Andrew, you're
Mhm.
familiar with it. I see Akash shaking his head yes and hearing him say, acknowledging yes. Intune didn't start off to be the way that it is right now. It started off as SCCM and various other different things, right?
Mhm.
But now,
Yes.
Intune has evolved into this management plane, this control plane of different OSs of things.
Mhm.
So I can have iOS, Android, Windows, Linux. I can have all these different things and I can apply these uniform policies, behaviors, and so on across all of these different OSs and platforms and get a single unified view of how all these things are managed and governed and everything inside of Intune.
Yeah, right.
Now I'm not saying Agent 365 is the next Intune. I'm not saying that, right? But if you look at it from an agent standpoint, it's very much like this. Because now I have my agents. My agents are going to have agent IDs. Agent IDs are going to roll up into Agent 365. I can look at that. I'll be able to see the inventory, by the policies, and do those things to there. But hey, what about I've got things inside of OpenAI and Google? That's fine. Are they authenticating into Intra? Yes, that's great. Okay, we'll assign agent ID to those. Well, then guess what I can do with that? Now, because there's a uniform framework of how agents are actually created, I can now apply specific policies and governance and things like that to those agents as well through Agent 365.
So for those who may not know actually what that means, though, that is that's using the Agent 365 SDK around those non-Microsoft native,
correct.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But, that's still pulling them in to that single unified management platform. And I think, that is one of the goals of Agent 365 is that. And I'm not an Agent 365 PM. And I will admit that there are gaps in my knowledge for certain things. And I am also privy to things that I've seen that I am dying to tell people that I just cannot say. Right? Like I have seen things at Agent 365 that I know isn't public information yet. And I'm like, ooh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So with that, so thinking about where you've come from the Power Platform world and everything that you've done, those constructs of, with the policies, with groups, with rules, and you think about the oversight that we have there currently, how does this all come together for the admin? Like what should they be thinking about or looking for as they're, like I said, we're moving into a different world, this agentified world. And that means not only for everybody else, like learning how to use the tools, creating agents, how to prompt, how to do things like that. But what does that mean for the admin who is now responsible for a large part of those two things?
Well,
I just went completely off track, but
no. It's a great question. It's a great question. So let me ask this of you, Andrew, and of you too, Akash. Of your agents in your organization, what are you concerned about? Are you concerned about that you have agent sprawl? Are you concerned about understanding what someone is building? Are you concerned about the classification of the agent, like what the agent is actually accessing, the data and things like that? Like, Akash, give me one or two things that you're concerned about.
Mainly probably what they're building and what agent is doing. The data classification, what data the agent is touching upon, and what the risk is, because currently that's kind of an unknown area.
Okay. Andrew, what are you concerned about?
But data security. So keeping the data within the bounds or the confines of the company and the people using it. That's probably my number one, is like data leakage would be the first one, and data access. When I think about, those are the areas where I think you could get into the most trouble.
So Akash said the key word, right? Like you're both, and I think many of us will agree who are listening to this, the risk is what we're all mainly concerned about.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So if I look at the products like Agent Builder, so again, we're not the only ones, OpenAI and Google, and we all have those things like that. One of the things that we hear very commonly is we want to be able to control the connections and so on, right? But they don't have the granularity and the things like that are offered in Copilot Studio and in Foundry and things like that.
Right.
Let's put that off to the side for a second. Okay. We use the term intrinsically governed a lot when we're talking about these types of agents. So would you perhaps agree that these agents, since they're not anything that are autonomous or they're not taking actions or anything like that, right? They're reading files. They're kind of deducing things on logic and things like that. Right?
Yeah, they're retrieval.
Yeah, they're retrieval agents. Would you think that those are, agree with me, or feel free to disagree, that those are far less risky?
I still consider them a risk.
Yeah,
because they're going to aggregate data.
They are a risk. They are a risk, right? But so is the ability for me to open those files inside of OneDrive and take a picture of them in Word.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Right? but we agree that the risk of them though is smaller, right? Like
compared to like autonomous. Absolutely.
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So then let me ask this question here now, right? 'Cause now we're getting into the meat of things here. Right? Okay, so because your question sparked this to me, Andrew, and I'm thinking now about the future and like where the industry might sort of be going with things.
Yeah.
Right. So do you think that there is a world, right, where these pro code, low code type of agents, if they have the same type of capabilities,
Mhm.
as these retrieval agents, that they need to be governed the same way, scrutinized as heavily?
Coming from the pro code side, then with more functionality.
No, exact same functionality. I just started
Exact
over
same.
there.
Yeah.
But I built it with the exact same functionality.
I mean, to me, I'm thinking, yeah, because it's a classification of the type of agent. I'm thinking about more of what type of agent and less about where it was created.
Right. But the risk is the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. But see what I'm saying, right? Like we're talking about the risk of the agent and you're concerned about the risk inside of there. But like what I'm saying is that even though it started someplace else, pro code or wherever it may be,
Mhm.
it has the same functionality as the retrieval that agent that we talked about inside of there. So why isn't it risk the same? Why isn't the risk the same inside of there? And and the point that I'm kind
Yeah.
of getting, what the point when we start talking to customers about environment constructs and all of these different things, and they want to know why they can't have data policies on these retrieval agents and all these things like that. Well, then my
Mhm.
argument is, well, why do we have to govern your power sorry, I just want to say power platform agent, that's wrong. The Copilot Studio agent, the same if it has the same functionality as an
Mhm.
agent builder. Why can't it just work?
Right.
You already accepted the risk as an organization. It isn't beyond the scope of the risk that you've already accepted.
Right.
Why can't it just work? Why do you have to add additional controls and things?
Interesting. And I'm thinking about like when you talk about those controls too, I'm thinking about, I mean, like for us, like how easy it was to roll out Copilot Studio because those controls already existed from the Power Platform, from the admin side. I mean, everything that you all worked on, but you're talking about it at a much larger scale. And how do you bring it under that umbrella? Is that like the Agent 365 side that you're talking about? So no matter where those controls can exist.
I mean, I'm maybe a little bit, but I'm also talking
Mhm.
conceptually, right?
Okay.
Because that's I think that's part of the core of the problem right here when we start thinking about agents and how do you successfully govern and secure these agents within your organization
Mhm.
without stifling the adoption of them and hurting ROI, productivity, and so on inside of there.
Mhm. Yeah.
Mhm.
Like I asked that same customer that I mentioned earlier today, when they said that they wanted to limit who can access and build agents. Well, I'm going to, sort of just give away what I said to them without giving the customer name. Well, I said, okay, well, that's a very interesting thing that you want to do. And after I had already proposed the solution that I mentioned before,
Mhm.
I said, but I have an alternative solution for you. How about if you limit the agents to just purely personal productivity?
Yeah.
Even in Agent Builder, like you're welcome to do that if
Mhm.
that's something that you want to do for yourself, right?
Mhm.
And there are ways of going about that. But they were talking specifically about Copilot Studio. One, I said, "Hey, listen, let's just get the licensing question out of the way. Just know that, if you own a Copilot license, you own the governance features to govern agents."
That's right. I forgot that that's now part of the package. So the managed environments are part of the Copilot Studio
That
or the Copilot license,
one of the
which
single greatest things that everybody needs to know is that in 2024, the license model changed.
that's right.
Yes, I do
Okay.
remember that because when we signed the contract,
Mhm.
right after 1 month, they changed it. I do remember that
I'm
very
sorry,
well.
Akash. That was my fault. Okay. All right. Myself, along with Zohar, Ben Walters, and some others, like we did that. Okay. But it was a change for the better, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yes,
you don't
yes.
need to have licensing for apps, flows, and Copilot Studio anymore. Like you don't
Mhm.
need all of that, right? If you only want to govern your agents, all you need is the Copilot license and you're good
Yeah.
to go. You're good. Okay. So that means the next thing about what I'm about to say, which is, hey, go and use environment routing, give everyone else their own little personal sandbox inside of there, right? And then limit that sharing down to, in their case, to 0. Now, everyone listen closely. I don't recommend you doing that down to 0. All right. But in their instance, like the way that they wanted to do their deployment, absolutely roll it out to 0. And the reason for that is because now what that does is, although licensing is not a control, they are using it as such.
Yeah.
So they are free to license whoever they want to. And whenever someone has a license, they can go out, they can get their sandbox and start exploring the platform.
Yeah.
They can do that.
Safely exploring.
Safely within everything that you have defined inside of it. Okay. Which goes back to what I was kind of saying earlier about the acceptable risks that the organization has defined inside of it. Right. Now that can align to the risks that are inside of Agent Builder, or that can align to the risks that are maybe a little bit beyond that or whatever. It's up to the organization of what they deem is acceptable for their organization. Like Andrew, I can't tell you what's acceptable for yours.
Nope, you can't. But you can say what's available.
I can say what's available, but I can't say,
like what you've done with the zone strategy, things like that. Like I think about how much thinking about reducing that friction. Like we've been in the exact same mindset starting up. Like, originally it was like, we're not going to give anybody PDEs for Copilot Studio until they go through training and they can prove, what they can do. Then I think came about our thinking to let's use the personal developer environments, and let's be very minimal, because that's what we do already anyway with Power Platform, Power Apps, Power Automate. So why not slot them in there, and we'll keep our sharing to 0. And then slowly you see it's more about our policy as a company, how you move these things through, and then just using those tools. So then saying, okay, we'll let you share with up to 10 people, but here's the deal, is that you have the responsibility on there of saying, this has now become a critical app, whether that's to your group or your business unit. Then at that point, you need to move it so that it's supportable, and then that's for us, that's that whole zone strategy and going through there. But then that's all possible because of all of the things that you put in place before coming up to this.
Yeah, exactly. And so, what you're saying, Andrew, really resonates. And I wish more people would take this to heart in terms of understanding when they're rolling things out, is that there are ways to, like, the zone strategy is simply a way of just segmenting things into different groups and deciding who gets to do what. This is nothing new.
No.
We have been doing this for years, decades even.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. In one way, shape, form, or another. So
can you imagine coming into this as a greenfield though now?
God, like so much things that I would do. Right.
Oh, I know. Akash, I'd be like, really, like, it's kind of crazy to think about if we could do that again.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, I will give a plug for Mick, who has now taken over the Green Zone Wizard, right?
Okay, the Green Zone Wizard. We love Mick. Okay.
Right. So Mick is working on a feature. We did show it at Ignite, so I can talk about it. And it does allow for any customer to, if they wish to, spin up and configure a green zone within their tenant.
That's right. So that'll be included under the licensing that they already have. They don't have to worry about anything else.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
So we do offer light guidance. And when I say light guidance, is that there is you all have been asking us for templates for years.
I won't ask you about the landing zone template again.
Okay, look, Andrew, he's just firing shots at me, everyone. Right? Landing zones turned into groups and rules. Okay, Andrew?
They did.
All right.
We're just going, we got the Wayback Machine here.
All right. Now, we're giving you a bit of a variation, a variant, if you will, of templates. So now, whenever you spin up the wizard, we give you recommendations inside of there. Like, we recommend a default policy. But while we're doing that recommendation, you can go in and edit that policy.
Right.
And say, oh, I see the Word or Outlook connector or Dataverse, and I can remove that connector inside of there. So completely up to you all. When you get to the next screen, as you're stepping through things, the decisions that you made before affect the decision that you made on the next. So for example, if I said I want folks to be able to always authenticate against Intra, well, when I move to the next screen, which is with channels and things like that. So direct line communication for Copilot Studio.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we gray things out that you can't use anymore
So good.
inside of there. And we tell you, hey, here's why this is disabled. Because, prior to that, and this is direct feedback from customers, if anyone ever sees the PMs at a Power Platform or Ignite conference or anything like that, everyone, please. Our team loves talking to customers.
That is true. That is not a line. Yeah.
Like we will stop whatever the heck we're doing and we will talk to customers, right? Skip lunch, whatever. Like, please tell us more. We geek out about it. That's direct feedback that we got from customers telling us, well, hey, if I configure this, why doesn't this work anymore? And we're like, oh, you know what? You're right. We should fix that. Right. So anyway, long story short on that. Yes, that's our first iteration of a template now, Andrew. So hopefully there's more to come now. And, maybe even you'll see things like one of the things that we talked about doing was if you're in healthcare or finance or telecom or something like that, that we'd have maybe templates based upon, recommendations from those particular industries or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Because every industry has it. And then think about like just even like the NIST standards and things like that. The, probably as we kind of get closer here to close out, we've had we're going to have you back because there's just too many things to talk about. But is there any thought? And if there is and you can't talk about it, thinking about that templated approach, what about also looking backwards at what you've already put into place? Are those some of the things that you're thinking about too?
Let me say it this way. If we look forward maybe to 2026, right, and think about the roadmap, if you will, right? What I foresee, not just us, but the industry doing is really doubling down and focusing in on a lot of the governance, security, compliance controls around AI.
Yeah.
I've seen
everybody's rushing into the space right now.
Everybody's rushing into the space. And I see a whole lot of articles. There was one recently by the Pentagon and a few others about, data privacy and, some things, concerns around data leakage and so on around that. So much that needs to be done in this space. Our partners, I can't name all of them. I mean, Defender obviously is, one of our, in-house, but you also have folks like Noma, you have F5, you have Zenity, you have all of these different folks that are building these solutions now, right? It's one of the reasons why for things like our agents, you can now have webhooks inside of there so that you can plug in this extensibility to be able to assess the risk, take action on agents and all of these things. There's so much more that's actually going to be coming, this way. The other thing that I think is going to happen, Drew, and I have this is purely me off saying this is what I think is going to happen. All right. I have no way of knowing this whatsoever. But some way, somehow, there's going to need to be either a joining clarity brought to or something along the lines of, all of these different platforms and all of these different spaces of where you can create and where you can govern these different types of agents inside of there. I know, there's a big hope that Agent 365 will bring a lot of that to it. And I'm all here for it. But in truth, Agent 365 and other platforms like it are going to be a bit of a journey. Because think about, and this is just me being honest here, right? You keep going back to Power Platform and you keep talking about the success of the things that have been built in there. Andrew, how long did it take us to build that?
My gosh, I would say that every day when we're talking about frustrations around Copilot Studio or things that we're doing, and I have to remind myself of where Power Platform was in its maturity at this same point. And it's taken us a long time to get to this place.
Yeah, I will say one other thing. I know, we're looking at the time, we're getting close on time here. We are taking as much advantage internally of AI and the advancements from a development perspective as well, right? Just a little peek inside of the machine. So you know what a PR is, right? A pull, right? So for those of you who are just listening and may not know, I'll break it down very simply.
They're the ones that are almost already asleep.
Right. Exactly. A PR is a code change request. It's essentially what it is. Andrew, I saw the metrics from like how much work we are doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like 2x or 3x.
Really?
X. No, it's almost like 20x
Jeez.
right now.
Mhm.
Our engineers are cooking, Andrew.
Wow. Well, and that's the rate of change. I mean, I think for everything. I mean, that's back to the thing, like the admin, what they're having to do at this same rate of change, because it's not just the engineers, but it's everybody downstream who works with the tools and runs the tools. It's
Yeah.
Look,
Yep.
Akash,
Definitely.
let me say this real quick. Last year, I think I shipped my team, like the team of engineers that I had, shipped 6 features in a semester. That's a semester is like 6 months. Okay,
Mhm.
6 features. That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This semester, the team that I have right now, we're going to ship 14.
Mhm.
Next semester after that, they're projecting maybe 20 to 25.
Gosh. Wow.
Then it's going to be really hard for the admin who is recently starting the journey for doing the governance on their side. And it's hard on how the AI is shifting all the governance and how we are embedding them into the governance right day to day. When someone is starting a brand new journey for the Power Platform admin as an admin, what would you suggest the 3 things they should set up out of the gate?
It's a very good question. We're talking greenfield right now or brownfield? Because greenfield is easy. Greenfield is like go turn on environment routing, set up advanced connector policies, and maybe create a few environments. And set up some environment groups. Obviously, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
That's 3 things right there inside of that. Now, if we're
Yes.
talking, like, okay, well, what are we talking about? We're talking about
That's a whole other
That's
episode.
yeah,
yes. That's a
but quickly, I got to give you something, right, Akash?
yeah.
I would
And
say
to the audience who's listening.
I would say this. Since it's in public preview right now and we can talk about it, I think one of the single biggest game changers that we're going to have for Power Platform and Copilot Studio is going to be advanced connector policies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
DLP 1.0, as we know it, is about to finally be put out to pasture, and it's about dang time, right?
Yeah. As I said, like when you're at the conference, you never see anybody who has a I Heart DLP shirt on.
No, ever.
That's
Ever.
gone. Yeah. Yeah.
I think that'll be, especially what shout out to Lane Swinka, who's the PM for ACP and DLP, especially what Lane is building right now
Mhm.
and what's publicly available. Like, folks, the things that y'all prepare yourselves, like you will want to move to ACP
Mhm.
and you will want to move swiftly. And
Yeah.
I will say that, Akash, Lane is giving us the tools to do so, right?
Yes.
So highly would recommend that is the single, like one of the best things that they could actually do and move there. And yeah, maybe Andrew's right. We got to have a part 2, 3, 4, 5,
Hold on.
7.
Well, we'll get Lane in as
There is
well.
infinite
Yeah.
parts we will need.
Yeah.
And then I know when our next episode, we're going to talk to principal PM behind Advisor. I'm not going to say his name so that you'll be just really wanting to know who it is and tune in next time. But Ken, thanks for taking your time and talking to us about this. Thanks for everything that you have done, because we are truly better in what we do because of the time and everything that you've put in into the Power Platform and the admin and the governance.
I mean, well, thank you, but honestly, you guys, the customers, I'm not just saying this. You two know me very well,
Mhm.
right? I love talking to customers and take everything customers say like very, very seriously,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
Like we really do. And you can see that in the product, right? So please keep coming up to us, keep talking to us, and 100% please support the Default Podcast.
The Default Podcast.
Default
All right.
podcast. Yep.
Well, with that, Akash, you want to take us out?
Sure. Until then, keep your environment secure and your user empowered. Let them build in a secure manner. Govern well, sleep well.